traffic, any issues? Okay, a couple of you. You just leave earlier next time, I think is the word of advice. And I'm just kidding. Ladies and gentlemen, a very good morning to all of you, our esteemed guests, our industry leaders and valued partners. A big welcome to the South African Funeral Industry Summit 2025. I believe this is the first one. I think we should put our hands together for that. The only conference, ladies and gentlemen, where we all know that the customer journey has a guaranteed final destination. Wow, it's a good one. Now, it's obviously proudly brought to us by 360 Administration and Systems. So my name is Themba Robin. I have the privilege of being your MC and program director today. And well, I was thinking to myself, what would an insurance-esque event be without a little disclaimer? So I thought I should bring you guys a disclaimer, and my disclaimer for you guys today is no matter what your eyes make you believe, whatever you're thinking right now, please don't believe that I was ever in a Leon Schuster film. That is another guy completely. So, as I said, my name is Themba Robin. That's my stage name. My full name is actually Themba Robin Behrens. I tend to leave the Behrens bit out because it's German. And as you guys can tell, I'm too short to be German, so that we leave it to rest. But I do get the Leon Schuster thing quite a lot. I was at Nickel Way, which is now Winnie Way shopping center the other day, and a lady walking by, she stopped. She said, "Hey, you're him. You're him." So I said to her, no, I'm not. I don't know what you're actually referring to. I said, I'm not. So she said, no, you're him. So I said, I'm not the guy from Leon Schuster's film. She said, no, you are him. So to get out of the situation, I just agreed with her. She asked me for a napkin. I signed it for her. Guys, I'm not very good at signing anything. I barely know my own signature. Now I've got to do Shorty's signature. I was there, but I signed it to get out of it. As I was walking away, she said to me, stop. Do the laugh. Do the laugh for us. I tried, I dug deep. I went, You've never seen one person look at another person with so much disappointment. She tore up her signature and said, you're right, you're not him. So I've learned a valuable lesson, just be upfront and straight about everything. All right, ladies and gentlemen, so as we say, you guys will appreciate a couple of rules. And so we do have a couple of house rules in the place today. Smoking, obviously not inside the building, straight out the back. If you need the lavatory, the loos are on the left-hand side as you exit. When we have our speakers and our panelists up here, we just ask that everybody put their phone on silence. Of course, we understand that this is an industry that never sleeps. Customers might do from time to time. But okay, I'm glad you guys are online with that humor, because I nearly had to lose all my funeral jokes earlier. But if anybody does need to conduct any business, we have a business center upstairs. So you can take phone calls, attend to your emails or anything up there. We just ask that you are mindful of everybody else in the room when you get up to head up there. Right. And then if there's an emergency, don't stress. You're either going to get out, and if you don't think you're going to get out in time, now's time to start finding some services within the room. There's lots of capable people here for that. To give you a little overview of what you can expect today, between now and 10:30, we're going to have an opening address, we'll have a keynote speech, and then we'll have a fireside discussion. Just a quick note to everybody, we don't have too much time to do Q&As today, but the materials will be uploaded onto the internets and platforms later, so we encourage you guys to engage on there if you have any questions after the fact. And then we have two competitions today. Our first competition, hopefully you guys brought your business cards. You'll find at the registration desk there was a box. You've got to put your business card in there, and then we're going to do a draw a little bit later. And that draw is to win a 15,000 Rand marketing campaign sponsored by Ecom. And that's consisting of an online audit and a discussion and implementation around a detailed marketing strategy. So if you want to elevate your business to the next level, we have that Ecom competition running, so make sure you get your business card in there. And then we also have Master Drive has sponsored us a prize. Of course, K52, or was it K53? What's the driving thing? Well, doesn't matter. It's merely a suggestion. We all know that a four-way stop is about having the biggest car, and therefore it might be handy to do a defensive driving course. So Master Drive has given us 10 opportunities. We've got 10 tickets to do a defensive driving course, and we'll do that a little bit later also. As we said, this is the first inaugural event, and it is awesome to be here, but we have to take a moment to thank all the parties that it takes to make this all possible. And that, of course, is our sponsors. So we have our platinum sponsor, who is KGA Life. We have our gold sponsors, Incubate with Asupol. We have our silver sponsors, BitVenture, Altron, and King Price, who is also the program lanyard and stationery sponsor. We have our digital sponsor, who is QLink, and our exhibitor sponsors, which is Peach Payments, Pay at Q, Netcash, Stratcol, One Life, Octomate Education, Masthead, and EasyPay. We have our gift bag sponsor, Ecom, our emerging innovator sponsors, Catalyst, Linbaz, and Master Drive. We have our media partner, Far News, for 2025, our program supporter, who is Cover, and of course, our event partner, ChilliPix Events. So a lot of people came together to make this happen, as you can see. All right. So, unlike policies, I'm not one to believe in waiting periods. So I think we should jump right in with an opening address, ladies and gentlemen. We are about to learn more about the vision and the purpose of SAFIS 2025. So introducing two individuals who know and who are as enthusiastic about funeral insurance as anybody. It's rumored that their first words were, in fact, terms and conditions apply. From 360 Administration and Systems, ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together for Marius Brits and Stephen Sands.
Stand outside.
Morning, everyone. Thank you. I would like to start off by perhaps telling a story and painting a scene for you, if you will. It's a Sunday. You've just settled down into your favorite chair. You've put your comfortable jammies on. Sheldon, you know those, eh? The ones with the holes. Those are the ones that fit lacquer. The ones that your wife always says, no, we're going to throw those away. And you hide them in the top of the cupboard. You're sitting in your armchair. You're relaxing. The TV's on. Ominous music plays in the background. And as every South African knows, on a Sunday night when Carte Blanche plays, my friend, your weekend is done. So I get a phone call. It's James. I used to go to school with him. To pick up, how's it? No, I'm good. Moving. Friday? Couple boxes. I'm there. See you, my man. Cheers. Friday rolls around. Go to James's house. No. It's not a couple of boxes. There's his granny with her boxes. There's a Labrador with the Labrador's boxes. There's 85 boxes full of James's junk. There's a grand piano. I'm like, no. I didn't sign up for this, James. So you might be wondering why I'm relating this story to you. Because something similar happened to me 3 months ago. I'm sitting in my office. Someone pokes his head around the door. Let's plan a summit, he said. It'll be fun, he said. And folks, here we are. From sleepless nights, to stress, to anxiety attacks. So what are we doing? What have we bitten off? I don't know. But Maury, I look at these people here today and I look at what you have achieved. And I can honestly say well done from the bottom of my heart.
Thank you.
Incredible effort. We had over 300 people registered to attend the event today. I don't think we quite made that. I know there was a bit of a traffic issue, but I'll take the 300 online. Take the 300, and then over 1,000 people registered online. To me, that just indicates that there is a great need for what we have put together today. It's for you guys. We're going to educate the industry. We're going to collaborate, and we're going to work together. So by saying that, I would like to invite you all, on behalf of Pol 360 and 360 Administration and Systems, to our first event. Thank you. Over to Maury.
Thank you, Stephen. Yeah, so our company basically started, we never put ourselves as just as a system. We're not just a systems company. We've always believed in helping our clients through this journey. We've become more consultants than anything else. So that's why we're all here today, because we believe we need to take our clients by the hands, we need to guide them through this journey. There's compliance, there's system integrations, there's payment partners, everything involved in this industry. So in saying that, that's where SAFIS basically came from. So I just want to firstly say thank you to all the sponsors, all the partners, because without them, we wouldn't be a company and this event wouldn't be possible. And then secondly, I want to say thank you for everyone that's attended this function today. We know you all have very important stuff to go and do, so it means a lot to have all of you here today. And then lastly, I would really like to say thank you to the staff at 360. I mean, it's been 3 months of work to get it where it is today, which is an achievement in itself. And then I would like to say thank you to ChilliPix. ChilliPix is our event partner, the creative partner, and they helped us put our vision into light. Thank you. Thank you for everyone for being here. Themba, over to you.
No, I'm good, my man. Thank you.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you, gentlemen. That gets us off to a good start indeed. Stephen, you're talking about the boxes and rocking up and not having or seeing too many boxes. I, for one, have personally helped Stephen pack up an inflatable slide. You know, the ones for children? And it'll be fun, they said. After the second time we rolled it up, we thought we should get some professionals in. Okay, who is the person with the holy pajamas? You pointed at someone who said, oh, Sheldon. Okay. Note to all the gentlemen in the room. Valentine's is coming up, guys. Just get yourself one complete pair of undies. I think the ladies will definitely appreciate it. All right, ladies and gentlemen, time to get to our first keynote address of the morning. It is my pleasure to introduce our keynote speaker from KGA Life, who will share insights into the evolving landscape of funeral policy administration. I welcome a senior sales executive and business manager with 28 years of leadership experience to share insights on how AI and lean methodologies can reshape the South African funeral industry. So, on that note, ladies and gentlemen, please give a warm welcome to Mr. Rian Langenhoven.
The last time I had this much spotlight on me was when my wife started asking me questions, which I didn't have answers to. Good morning, everyone. Welcome. Firstly, thank you very much to Marius, Stephen, and the team for letting me be here today. Few things excite me more than speaking to business owners, and I assume most of the people in here are owning some sort of a business administration or funeral. So KGA has been a bespoke funeral underwriter for about 38 years, almost 40 years. So we've got a lot of history in the industry. People who don't know our name, we are basically in the background. A lot of our clients are sitting here today, but we don't enforce our logo or company profile on them. We let them be the leaders in the industry. I've been handed a bit of research which really opened my eyes this week. And we always think, who's the market leaders in the industry? Who's selling the most policies? And this is the latest research, came out a few months ago. And AFBOP, market leader, 100 years in the industry. Metropolitan Clientele, Old Mutual, I think 200 years in the industry. But I'm not giving you the full picture. There's a new entrant who started only a few years ago that is killing it out there. Clientele. The latest industry figure shows that they are selling 30% of all new policies in South Africa at the moment. They are the biggest opposition to anyone in this room. If you're selling funeral policies, look out. They've got over, I think, almost 900 branches selling funeral policies. They made 3.5 billion rand profit last year from funeral alone. If there was ever a threat after COVID, I would say, if you're a funeral parlor, this is the biggest threat. They are selling at a rate that is incomprehensible. Within 8 years, they became the market leaders versus the opposition that's been selling for 100 plus years. That is astonishing. So the question I always ask is, how do you compete with someone like that? That's why you're here probably today, to look for answers. So I always believe that one of the biggest signs of respect you can show business owners is when you tell them the truth. And that's why I want to be here today, is to show you what's possible and what it takes to win against big corporates. Because the reality is, as we're sitting here, they are targeting our clients. They are targeting policyholders via SMS, via whatever format. But I believe Capitec is the biggest threat to funeral parlors out there. There's 15 million active policies at the moment. I'm not counting the self-insured part of the industry, but from a normal funeral, 15 million. Capitec has got 20% of that already. And they are just gearing up. I was at a function not too long ago, end of last year. There was a senior executive of Capitec. He didn't want to divulge too much, but he did say this, which really stuck with me. We haven't found a pocket of people that's never heard of funeral before. There's no blue sky or blue ocean, as they call it. We are aggressively stealing market share from funeral parlors. That's their strategy. So in saying that, I would be very interested in knowing how do you compete with that. Because so we're also still a family-owned insurer for almost 40 years. So how do we compete? And it's actually not that difficult. 53% of the current population in South Africa are covered by funeral. So it's still a huge market out there to capture. There's 15.3 million active policies. 57% of all insurance products sold are funeral at the moment. That grew from about 45% before COVID. What's also interesting is that the market is now only back to pre-COVID numbers. The market hasn't grown. From COVID, it went down. It's now back up to pre-COVID numbers. But the companies selling policies has increased tremendously, which means the market are tougher than it's ever been for funeral parlors trying to sell policies. So how we compete with the big corporates, how we help our clients compete, is with using AI to our advantage, which will be discussed in depth today, but also incredible focus on process engineering. Looking at every process in the business. Is this process making money or is this process losing money? I'll use a typical example. So before we started this journey of re-engineering our business, maybe this will sound familiar to you. A policyholder would go to a funeral parlor underwritten by us, let's say Rustenburg. They go to the funeral parlor staff gives them a list of documents they would need, all certified. Does it sound familiar? They bring back those documents. The funeral parlor, to a degree, assess the claim. They check all the documents. They then scan it in and mail it to the administrator, who does exactly the same. Prints it out, check all the documents for certification, scans it all back in, and mail it to the underwriter. Does it sound familiar? Does it still happen today? So we believe there should be a better way. So what we did was we went back to the drawing board and said, if something in our business does not make sense and is not cost effective and streamlined, we're going to change it. Doesn't matter what the industry thinks or the staff thinks, we're going to change it. So with integration, with the help of AI, the new reality for our clients are the following. You can claim via WhatsApp as a policyholder. You can literally send your name on WhatsApp to us and the claims process take over. We ask only for an uncertified death certificate. Only document. No claim form to be filled in, no certified BIs, none of that. Because the reality is, if the premium is paid, if the waiting period is over, if the cover did exist, and the person did die, there's nothing else to check. Isn't that true? Yet most insurers still today are asking for all these documents that actually doesn't mean much because there's electronic or tech ways of getting exactly the same answers. So our typical process time at the moment, we'll discuss some of it later in one of the breakaway sessions. We process, our average processing time for claims is about 17 minutes at the moment. After 17 minutes, whoever submitted that claim, being the funeral parlour or the policyholder, gets notification that it was approved and payments follow after that. So why that's important for the funeral parlour is something that people who don't own businesses will never understand, and that's cash flow. So if you submit a claim and you get paid the same day, the funeral parlour's made their profit before they've done the funeral. They don't have to use their own cash flow to start arranging and buying stock, etc. So everything we do is with the eye so that we can help our clients become more efficient, spend less time on administration and more time on selling, which is the most important thing in business. If you've ever owned a business and you don't realize, and you're not selling every day, you are not winning every day. It's as simple as that. And most of the people in this room, as I said, own businesses. And you can ask yourself, I always say your time budget is as important as your money or your financial budget. How much time did you spend the last month on selling, growing, versus admin, compliance, documentation, processes that adds no value, massive compliance departments, for instance, like we used to have, that adds no value. Clients aren't willing to pay for that. So we believe the best thing that we could do for our clients is to help them sell more and do less admin and save money in that way. So what we've done is we've integrated with Pol 360, is our biggest partner in terms of systems, and on behalf of all our clients, we've integrated with everything you see there. So the reason for that is because in the funeral industry, we've realized that if you're a funeral parlour owner or an administrator, you're going to have to go do all of that on your own. So we did it on behalf of all our clients. It's free to all our clients. The moment they start with us, we give them this for free. They can use it. They don't have to use it if they want to. But the idea is that you rather spend your time selling than going to Stellenbosch, integrating with any of these guys. Payat, for instance, it'll take you a few months. You switch it on today with us, and it's there free of charge. So what does that mean? So over the last 5 years, we've gone through this process. The biggest change in our business is with using artificial intelligence by streamlining, revisiting every process in our business, doesn't matter which process it was, our operational expenses are 80% lower than what it was before COVID. To give you an idea of what this means, we deal with hundreds of claims a day. As you can imagine, we've got over 500 funeral parlour clients. We've got one permanent person in claims. We've just switched on our latest AI model where we assess 100% electronically, 100 claims every 7 minutes without any mistakes. So that helps our clients, again, with cash flow, but you don't have to go collect documents, mail it to us, etc. I want to ask you another question. Are you still on a system, policy administration system? Your administrator is on a different system, and your insurer is again on a different system. When we looked at this, we said it makes no sense because now we're relying on data sheets being emailed every day. We used to get hundreds of mails a day. Here's my data. I'm claiming for this person. We can't find him. We can only see 10,000 cover. No, but you've got the old data. He's got 20,000 cover. We used to have call centers dealing with queries on claims. We've got none of that anymore. We've actually got no person in our business in administration anymore because of these tools. So we integrate with partners like Pol 360 to help us get the edge versus the big corporates with unlimited funds, which is impossible to compete with. So the best way we feel you can compete is by eliminating everything to do with waste in your business, lean methodology. Every process has to be lean, bringing in money, as little as possible, touching documents, etc. But more importantly, what does this mean for our clients? We onboard new funeral parlour clients or administrators. Within less than an hour, you'll get an electronic contract. No more faxing, no emailing. Then we give you the fully integrated system free of charge that's integrated with everything I've just seen. So you can, from day one, start submitting claims. You can start managing your policies. You can start selling on your phone and use Netcash as debit order facility, Payat as a payment option, and everything that we've integrated with. From day one, you can submit claims on a WhatsApp line. From day one, you can alter policies, of course, on the policy management system. So the biggest advantage of all of this is not just to us, but we give our clients an edge. If we go back to that claims process, I'm just using Soweto as an example. So if you're operating a funeral parlor in Soweto, you've got, I'm guessing, 100 funeral parlors, same vicinity. And if you're asking only one document at claim stage, if you can make it that easy for your policyholders, then surely you've got a competitive advantage versus everyone else who's still asking for 8 documents and certified. So we see our clients that using this to their advantage have a strategic advantage versus their opposition. Because to be real, you have to start selling at massive numbers to compete with the big guys. So every minute you're not spending on sales, but rather documents, assessing claims, administration. For instance, selling still on an application form, taking it back to the office, capturing. I mean, that's completely unnecessary with the tools that we've built with Pol 360. You can literally start selling from day one with us on a cell phone, and that policy will never have to be captured again. No emailing of data. We still have clients emailing us data, but they're not integrated with us in Pol 360. But we are on the same system as our clients. So when they process a policy or submit a claim, we see it within seconds. We don't have to ask for data sheets. We don't have to open data sheets. We don't have teams of people looking at data sheets or looking at mails. Everything is integrated directly with our clients, which shortens everything. And of course, we don't have any clients phoning us to ask, where is my claim? It just does not exist in our business anymore. We've actually got a receptionist still. We've still got incoming a telephone line, but I just can't remember when last it rang, because we communicate with the clients via WhatsApp, Facebook Messenger, Instagram, whichever way you want to contact us, we see it immediately, and all incoming communication, questions, policy details, claims are resolved, as I said, with under 20 minutes. Even our monthly billing is automated. We don't have admin staff anymore mailing out manual statements. Whatever's on the system that you manage is what's going to be billed, whatever that is. If the policy book grew, if the policy book shrank, the same will be on the statement. We don't have capturers anymore. I remember in the old days, we used to have admin teams, 40, 50 people, processing invoices at the end of the month, dealing with queries. How did you get to this amount? I never had 10 extra policies. You're charging me too much. That does not exist anymore for our clients. That's 100% integrated. It is so tough to make profit in any business today. That's why I've got so much respect for business owners. I think few people realize how tough it is to make money, especially when there's, like in our industry, thousands of competitors. It's so difficult to have a competitive advantage. So in our motto, what we believe will assist, and what we're doing every day to assist our clients, is not to bug everyone with, let's say, compliance, or fill in forms, or do this because we have to process reports. All we focus on is helping our clients save money by re-engineering processes, by giving them the tools to focus on the most important thing in business, and that's sales, in our opinion. Thank you very much. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Rian. Very insightful indeed. And I know what everybody's thinking with all this optimization, with all this no sending statements, no more capturing data, no more telephone ringing. You must have the most stressed out receptionist in the whole world. No job security. She's just sitting there wondering which day the big axe comes. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to head off with our first fireside chat of the morning. This is sponsored by KGA Life and Incubate with Assupol. Obviously, due to health and safety reasons, we can't have a physical fire here, but just imagine it to be here. All right. Our fireside discussion is going to be hosted by Rianet Whitehead from Far News, our official media partner for 2025. We're going to welcome back our optimization expert, Rian Langenhoven, and then he'll also be joined by an individual who can calculate your life expectancy just by looking at your lunch order. An actuarial and a risk expert, a fellow of the Actuarial Society of South Africa, Musiwa Nyadzani. So we'll get you guys up and we'll commence with our fireside discussion.
Net enige plek. Anyway. Thanks.
Oh, okay, thank you.
Thank you for the introduction. I just want to clarify it's FA News and not FAR News, but that's a small technicality. Rian, welcome back. Msiwa.
Thank you.
Nice to see you.
Morning.
So I think our discussion today is mainly around the difference between standard. When you give me some of the answers, Rian, I think you've highlighted all the amazing things that KGA.
Access to the full value chain of the insurance businesses. So if we look at the question that she's posed to us, if we go back for those of us who have been around for a while, you know, in 2010, 2011, there was a microinsurance policy framework, which the regulator intended to transform the insurance industry, to get more emerging people, businesses, that some of them in the floor here, to participate more meaningfully in the insurance industry. So if you look at the differences, there's differences in terms of the capital requirement. They've reduced the minimum capital requirement from a standalone microinsurer from 15 million to 4 million. They've also reduced in terms of the operational and governance requirement in terms of what requirements you need to comply with on a quarterly, yearly basis to make it more easier for small and emerging businesses. So if you look at coverage, and we constrain ourselves specifically to funeral because we are in a forum for that, there's really no difference between a standalone insurer and a microinsurer. The regulator intended to make sure that there's a level playing field so that, and this is not surprising if you recall the numbers that we were saying. To say funeral is a well-penetrated product, well-distributed, and well understood by clients in the various communities. So you don't want there to be a gap between a microinsurer and a standard insurer. However, there's envisaged, the regulator did envisage that there could be a difference in terms of the cost. Because of the capital efficiency from a microinsurance, you do expect microinsurer to offer much more affordable products as they pass that benefit back to the consumer. Secondly, because of the distribution channels that they have, they are already in the communities. They don't have to travel, they don't have to have a call center to be able to distribute this product. It's expected that it will be much more easier. But that really depends on the microinsurance business itself, whether how are you passing that down to the end consumer. I hope I've done justice to your question.
Rian?
So I always say I'm a realist. If you're selling cell phones, if you're selling funeral insurance, if you're selling policies, it's the same principles. What are you doing to generate profit? So if I was in the funeral industry, not in the underwriting side, you know what you're charging per policy. Just a typical example. Let's say it's 100 Rand. Let's say you pay the underwriter 30 Rand, 40 Rand of that. The underwriter must still pay claims. From experience of 38 years in the industry, I can tell you, to make money from an underwriting side is near impossible. Therefore, the last 5 years that we've spent on reducing our OPEX, re-engineering the whole business. So my first answer to someone who wants to investigate microinsurance is, that's not your core business. And if you want to do that to make money, I can tell you from the start, there's no money in it. The only reason why we are so profitable is because we went from 150 staff before COVID to 15 at the moment, dealing with hundreds more clients, thousands more claims a month because of AI and integration like with Pulse 360, so that we don't have to have those manual processes. So from a business perspective, if you're doing it to make more money, then I can tell you, you're not going to make more money. If you're doing it because you want to be an insurer, then maybe that's you can do that. From a business perspective, I can just tell you now you're becoming an insurer, a corporate. Now you've got actuaries. Now you've got a lot more compliance. The FSCA know exactly where the insurers are. It's easy to phone us rather than a funeral parlor and ask a million questions. So now suddenly you become exactly what you didn't start the business to become an insurer. You started the business to leverage your strengths, which is probably selling policies, doing funerals, making money in that way. Because remember, you control the price. You're a price setter in the industry as a funeral parlor. You decide what you sell something at. No one dictates to you. When you're an insurer, you're a price taker. That's the big disadvantage. We can't go to a client and say, we want 100 Rand per policy. They will just move on to someone else. We redesigned our business in line with the potential profit, which is next to nothing in the industry. That's where we started this process. So if you own any business and you want to add more cost, it makes no sense. Why would you want to add more cost? Rather spend that money on sales. Capital requirements, for instance, from my experience, clients or potential clients I met with that did go the microinsurance route, it starts with 4 million, it ends on 20 million. Because it depends on the size of your business. If you've got 100,000 policies, you're going to have millions in capital like we've got, which you can never access again. It's money, it's dead money for all due purposes. You have to close down the insurance license to get your capital back. If I had 100 million to invest in the industry, it would not be funeral insurance. On the funeral parlor level, most of the profits are made. And I think everyone knows that. There's no surprise there because the funeral parlor sets the price. Underwriters are price takers. We have to comply with 1 million laws that funeral parlors in general don't have to. So my advice is always, depending on your size, micro-insurance, I just heard the other day, there's more deregistrations now than there are registrations. The FSCA acknowledged they designed it not for funeral parlors really. It works better for other insurance products. So that's my personal opinion. As I said, I've always come from a business perspective first. Regardless of what you do, if what you do is going to add profits and you know how to do it, by all means. It's like if I were putting in petrol in a car in an engine garage, that doesn't mean I understand how to run a garage. That's something completely different. So, and as I said, I come from a business, not from an insurance perspective, just from a normal business.
So I think clearly micro-insurers are not necessarily in it for the money, but for the good. So, Musiwa, I'm going back to you. Micro-insurance in general, we are here for funerals specifically, but do you believe it has achieved the goals it set out to achieve? Is there still a proper place for microinsurance? It's a very important conversation because we're referring to low-income households here. Your comment?
No, thank you. I guess they didn't call it a fire chat for nothing, so I have to wear that gear. I think we must be very careful here not to discourage people from growing their business. The vision might have been to just be a funeral parlor, but the government and the legislative framework is creating a path, particularly to get small businesses to one day end up where we are as KGA, as Asupol, as Incubate with Asupol and the rest. And we must kill the myths right away. If funeral business was not profitable, all those tests that you saw there, all the ChilliPix that came in 3 years, 6 years ago wouldn't have been there. So there's no way that funeral business is not profitable. It's just how the people on the other side, what is the parlor, what is the broker participating in that business that they are writing. They are left only to participate with the commission only. They don't participate in the underwriting profit. I can tell you from an actuarial profit point of view, there's no insurance business will go and put its product out there with a pure intention of making a loss. If you see us underwriting it, putting it in the market, there's profit to be done in there. So has microinsurance legislation achieved its goal? I think it's in the process of achieving that goal. It was promulgated in 2017. We had a COVID period, so we must be fair to the regulators. But if you look at the microinsurers that are licensed now, there are 14 microinsurers that are licensed. 3 of them composite microinsurers, either they can sell short-term and life insurance, and 11 that are life insurers. And majority of them are owned by parlors, brokers that were previously just distributors. They are facing challenges, as he said. Yeah. And part of it is about how do you go about this microinsurance journey. And that's where, from an Asupol point of view, we created a company called Incubate with Asupol, because we do agree with him that the jump from being a broker, from being a parlor to an insurer one night, it's a bit too much. You need to have a transition to go there. But we must not kill the idea that out of a distributor that has been there for years, one day we can have them in his chart to say, XYZ, in our case, Amogelang or Tshirelezo could be one of the insurer 10, 20 years later. That ideal in a particular community is strong enough, and we must be able to enhance it. And maybe what we must say, how do they go about it? Because he's right, It started at 4 million. The capital requirement is set as a percentage of premium. As your premium income increases, so you must keep that money in there. But the same applies to the insurers. And their capital requirement is even higher. It's not even 15% of premium. On average, it's 25 to 35%. So why will KGA and ASUPOL be prepared to keep more aside and leave you out to distribute and not allow you to distribute and participate in your own profits and keep 15% as opposed to 30%? I think there's value for the players that side. And maybe what I didn't mention, that on a cell-captive environment, the capital requirement in a cell is not 4 million, it's 250,000, right? Which many of them could now be able to afford. Of course, it will grow as you grow in there. And what we have done at the ASUPOL point of view, we've created Incubate, which is of a plug-and-play model. You come with your capabilities, your distribution capabilities, whatever functionality that you have. What you do not have, we give you from our ecosystem. We give you our infrastructure, we give you our branches. Let's say somebody operates in Northwest, they want to go to Limpopo. You don't have to go to Limpopo and open a branch. You can use our branch. We share and you leverage our efficiency. He mentioned the same, your administration system. You don't have to go and do that. Similarly, the compliance element, we are the insurer. You are a cell owner, it's ring fence. You own 100% of what comes in there. You still continue to do what you do. You still continue to get commission. But when there are profits that insurers have benefited from in the past, you also participate. And I want to end your question to avoid giving you a long-winded answer with what our former CEO used to say, is that as industry, we must admit that we've used parlors and brokers as a conveyor belt in this business. Okay. They have been creating this business for us, and we've been the one making profits for our shareholders. And this legislation is now creating an opportunity for us to share in that value with the people that are actually in the ground, with the people that are actually doing the distribution. Yeah. And it's only fair to do that to these businesses and to see them grow. Yeah.
It takes me to the comment of the importance of partnering in collaboration in our industry, but it links to my next question, which I only wanted to ask later, but I think it's relevant now, the education part. So are we doing enough? I'm talking education from the insurer to the micro-insurer, on the micro-insurance side for businesses to grow. And I'm talking about financial education with clients in the funeral space. Are we doing enough? Is there a better role or bigger role for the broker to play? Because I know there's a lot of brokers also on the FA News platform. Are we doing enough? What can we change? And where does the broker fit in here? Rian?
I think, sorry. I can see the engine is warm. Yeah. So I think you will never do enough, and we're grateful to Marius and Stephen for creating this platform. This is another way of us educating the players in the industry, and it doesn't have to end here. We as insurer, we need to take this to various community. The regulator on their side, they also have program to go about to make people aware. You need to understand the structures, so that people come into a system or a structure that they understand. I think we need to do that to close that gap. And from Incubate, that's why when we saw this opportunity, we jumped at first place. I think Maria spoke to us 3 months ago, if I remember. It's like, no, we'll be there. We'll put our money to make sure that you spread the word out there, help the businesses that are here to know that there's this thing that they can use. It's not for everyone. Some people just purely want to be distributed. They want to remain where they are. And we must allow those to continue to do businesses with companies like KGA and ASUPO. But there are some who say, I've been in this business for years. I spoke to some of our partners. It's like, it's a family business. It's now moving to the next generation. And I said to them, had your parents started in a micro-insurance cell-captive environment, you would have been far. And cell-captive is not new. It has been there before. We have industry players like Scott that have been operating in the 90s. But the requirement to get there is a bit steep for a small business. That's why a micro-insurance cell-captive comes in play. We need to do more. We are prepared on our side to put our resources to go to various communities, and we even come with a team of colleagues to help those on the ground to be able to have those conversations. Because I think it's only when we open up their eyes that they will be able to see what is available for them and choose in there. But I don't think we are there yet, but I am aware of programs that various insurance companies are doing, the regulator on the side are doing. But I think it's just the beginning. We need to do more, and we must support initiatives like this to make sure that it grows, to make sure that it becomes a regular occurrence in our annual calendars.
Rian, maybe you can touch on the role of the broker.
The role of?
The broker in
terms
the
of
education.
For the staff or policyholders?
No, clients.
Clients. So I just want to mention something.
We've got, as I said, hundreds of clients, and a lot of them are considering microinsurance at some stage in their journey. And a lot of them are aware of the 4 million head start. I just want to clarify something, and you maybe can confirm this. 4 million is just the start. I had a client the other day came to me, they've got 100,000 policies, I think I mentioned it earlier. The end result was 20 million rand down the line. So few funeral parlours has got that kind of capital to put aside to gamble that, let's say, COVID won't happen again. So what people miss about microinsurance is, yes, it might be a model that works for some. In my opinion, if you've got only 11 licenses, that speaks for itself. It's just out of reach for most funeral parlours. It's a step just too far. It's maybe not as difficult as it used to be to enter, but I think the most important question is, are you going to make more money by doing that? So what works very well for us, because our OPEX is 80% less than what it used to be, we can make deals at much lower margins. So in other words, if you want to make more profit, like some of our clients in this room has got, I call it bespoke agreements with us, where they make most of the profit, by far the most, because we don't need, like we used to, 50% of the premium to pay claims, etc. So if it's profits you're after, I believe there's much easier ways, cheaper ways of making more money in the industry, be more profitable, than having to put away millions and millions of rands in capital, like all the insurers have to, and then it's just money lying there. You can't say, I had a quiet year, next year, give me back some of that capital. It doesn't work that way. So, yeah.
How can the framework be modified to drive small business development and financial inclusion? Because at the end of the day, it was signed in to give more opportunities, more work, more inclusion for many people. It's clear that there are major gaps in the system. What do we change?
So one of the projects we've launched, I didn't mention this earlier, we've got actually clients in this room that just went on this journey with us now recently. So we've launched digital training platforms free of charge for all our clients and their staff, where we cover subjects such as microinsurance. What does it mean? We cover subjects like basic finance. If you're in sales, if you're selling policies, what do you have to know in terms of compliance, T's and C's, etc. So we've designed about 20 online courses, which is free of charge. Okay. And then some of our clients, we do a function afterwards. We're going to do one now for 100 staff members for one of our clients in Johannesburg, where we hand out even certificates to those staff. So we've come up with free training for our staff, our client staff, so that they don't have to spend the money on that. And again, the reason is so that they can spend their time on selling, rather than thinking of ways to educate their staff or their policyholders. We provide those tools free of charge.
Speaks to the collaboration and partnership that's so important in our industry.
I think underwriters in general, and I'm talking about KGA as well, has got very little to offer, to be honest. We can't solve all the problems. We can't come up with all the solutions. What we chose to do is to start with the claims process, then education, then collaboration with Pole 360s of the world, payment methods, everything to make it easier for the funeral parlour to focus on what's really important in their lives, which is sales, beating the opposition, having a strategic edge, rather than the funeral parlour trying to be a million things that they're not good at, essentially, what they're not geared to do, which they don't have the experience for. So everything we do, the education part, etc., is trying to help our clients. Because in insurance, unfortunately, if you're a micro-insurer or if you're an insurer like KGA or any of the other brands, all you basically do is put a certificate on the wall. Then you start sending invoices and you want payments and you're looking for reasons not to pay claims. That's the normal journey with an underwriter. So we went back to the drawing board and said, how different will it be if we pay your claims instantly? How big a difference would that be? And then obviously following on that, all the other solutions such as training. Because it's tough out there, as I showed you with Capitec. By the way, Capitec made 250% of all the profit in the industry last year. Everyone you saw on that graph, all their profits combined, Capitec made 2.5 times that profit. And so it's very difficult to make profit in this industry. I'm not saying there's no profits, it's just very difficult. But Capitec, of course, has got a footprint that they can use free of charge. They've got very little OPEX and they can sell millions, literally.
How long do they take to pay out a claim?
I've got no idea. But they still ask for the 8 certified documents. They don't have the same focus as us, for instance, because they don't need to. They're selling by default.
What is the general time frame in terms of paying claims?
So regulatory-wise, it's within 48 hours, but industry-wise, we try to pay claims within 4 hours, 24 hours. Companies do try their best to do that. I wanted to mention something here to say, and I don't know if it was a deliberate on your side, to say, now that Assupol and Sanlam are now one, we are now actually the biggest insurer in the retail mass market in terms of the number of policies. So I think your slide might need to be updated to reflect our position in the market, to be fair. And I want to answer your question, but we must go back because actually you are technical in number. When we mention number, we must give the audience correct number. Yeah. When your capital requirement becomes 20 million, it means you have a premium income, annual premium income of 133 million. So you must divide that by 15%. So the capital requirement that is increasing, it's not increasing without you having the premium. You are collecting the money to cover it. You're just taking from the premium that you are collecting and you put it aside. You can't use it to run your business. You must keep it to pay claims. So let's not use numbers to scare people to say, well, for you to get to a 20 million capital requirement, you should have an annual premium income of that number divided by 15%, which is 133 million. So if you're not there, then you can't see 20 million capital requirement. So let's not scare people, because the ideal of them growing into an insurance company is real. It's like telling me I come from Limpopo, so you can't be an actuary because it's so difficult to pass the exam. Yes, it is difficult, but it's doable. We are saying to them, you need to be aware of what you need to have as a micro insurer. And if you don't have those capabilities, have a partner that can use their expertise and their system and their staff to help you on the journey, so that you can gradually build up your capacity, so that it's not a once-off thing. We must be very careful not to kill something wonderful that our government has done for the industry for a change, purely because of individual existing company interests. And I mean, we had the same crossroad as where they are, to say there's microinsurance legislation coming. Do we see them as competitor? Or do we see ourselves with our 112 years experience that we have a role to play in building this industry? Yep. We chose the empowerment route. And this is so serious to us that we even, in our agreement with us, we even put it as an objective in the agreement to say we are co-creating insurers of the future. Number two, in your self-captive, we can't be the majority owner. You must be the majority, because otherwise it dilutes our requirement. Yeah. Number three, the regulator in our license, they made it clear that your purpose is to go and help transform, and we'll be monitoring you throughout this journey. So we are committed to doing that. And when you see these two organizations, Assupol and Sanlam, putting their resources, planting it back to where they've grown, how they've developed to help other businesses, we can't easily just kill that. I believe in the room here. I believe in the audience here. There are people that might be in the licensed phases, but if we support them, they can actually be where we are. And we must not kill that dream easily.
I love the passion here from both of my panel members. Don't you agree? I think it's a good question now to ask from a pure business perspective. As a funeral parlour broker or distributor, when does it make sense to get your own microinsurance license versus partnering with a licensed insurer? Rian, maybe you can answer that for me.
Well, I think when it makes business sense, it's as simple as that. The answer is different for every person in this room, depending on your size, policy book, your claims. Obviously, the higher your claims are. So what we're seeing with our, as I said, we've got hundreds of clients. So we use AI to analyze data all the time. So in our session later on today, we'll show some examples. So a client would come to us and say, I want to open a branch I'm using Rustenburg as an example. Within half an hour, we can tell them exactly what the market looks like, who's the competitors, what they're selling, at what price, what's your potential market. If you've got 10,000 policyholders, that equates to, let's say, 1% of potential market share. Someone else has got 99%. Those are the kind of discussions we've got with clients. So the answer for me is different for every business. It depends on your needs. If you want to be an insurer, then that's a relatively easy way of doing it. I always say, and no disrespect to anyone, if you allow someone else, let me rephrase, if it makes financial sense for your business, the owner's going to want to do it. Whatever that is, if it's normal underwriting, microinsurance doesn't matter. So the answer might be different. If you've got 10,000 policyholders, for instance, or if you've got 100,000 policyholders, the answer might be completely different. So the claims is a massive factor. So if you've got, what I wanted to say was, so I'm taking a sample again of Soweto. We've got 4 clients in Soweto. The claims experience is so vastly different. You would think they serve the same policy book. You would think they serve the same market, the same affordability. Their claims experience is so vastly different that, let's say they were all to go to microinsurance route, their capital requirement will be vastly different because of the claims. If your claims are R1 million a month, capital requirements will be X. If your claims are 100,000 Rand a month, your capital requirement will be less. So I think I like to believe that business owners make decisions that works for them. It might be any route, but I don't think there's a clear cut, a yes or a no.
Do you agree, Musiba?
Yeah, for a change, we agree to say you don't have a one size fit all. You must assess each business based on its functionality, its numbers. And what we do on our side, we do a business model. We show to the parlor or to the broker, this is what your business look like. This is your income statement. This is your expenses, and this is the profit that are in your book. And this is the capital that you need to inject to support this business. You take them in that journey, and they decide if they want to come in the end. He's right. Experiences will differ from one place to the other, and therefore it's important that you customize your offering to the needs of that business. For example, different businesses, some of them only have a distribution capabilities, and like I said, they just want to remain as a parlor. But there's a growing number of them that says, you know what, I don't want just to stay in here. I'm currently a parlor or broker because that's what I knew when I came into the industry. Now that I know more, I want to grow into the industry, and we must be able to capacitate and to help them grow in there. For us, he's talking about money. We even within our businesses, we even allow you to come and interact with our business funding to get this capital, to make sure that if you don't have the money and your business case makes sense, you don't have to go elsewhere and look for money. We ourselves will put our money in your business to make sure that you succeed. And that's why we feel it's something that is not common in the industry. And you can see how young I am. When this opportunity was brought to us, we ran with it. We realized there's something that we can do as an industry here. And if in the next 10, 20 years, we get a few parlors or brokers that will have started in Free State, and now I see their brand everywhere else in the country, and now you from the media, you cover them. That to us is a success story. If you can't get to a license story to that level, you can be in a cell captive and share in the profit. What he's not saying directly is that most people in here, they are forever changing, and sorry to paint you like this, excuse me, most of them are forever changing underwriters. If you ask them what are they looking for, they're trying to cut as much as possible from that premium. So they want the profit. So rather put them in a cell where they own 100% of the profit. Then they won't have to change. They won't have to move from this person to that person. Because at the heart of it all, they realize that, no, you're making money from my shirt, and I'm not getting anything. So I want an extra 5 rand. If Asopol can give me, I'm moving my book there. If KGA can give me, I'm moving my book there. But actually what they want, you can put them in one structure. You own 100% of the profit that comes from your book. Then there won't be any changing of insurer from one insurer to the other. There won't be any confusion from the client to say, last time you sent me an SMS to say Asopol is my insurer, this time this one is my insurer. What's happening? So the objective is really there, and it's clear, and I think there are people who are buying them. There are others who came to us and say, we have went through the direct license ourselves. We didn't realize that it will require this much. Is there room for us? No, we can go and talk to the regulator with you. So you have made an application for a license. You believe if you get the license, you're not ready yet, but you want to go through it via the cell captive. And then once you are ready in the cell captive, you can go and apply for your license. And what we call it, you graduate. And what he's not saying is that sometimes even when you graduate, we do realize that you might not have the capital. In our shareholder agreement, we put it in writing that when you leave, if you want us to be a partner and to want Sanlam and Asopol to invest in your business, you can give us that right. We can give you the capital to say, we believe, Renet, you have been doing well in the cell captive. We believe you have gathered enough experience to understand the policy life cycle from sales back office function, that you can be able to stand alone on as your own, and will be a minority shareholder in the business to make sure that we support you. You get a me or somebody of my colleagues, come sit in your board, provide an oversight. That commitment from established businesses that are used to getting profits on their own, it's a significant one, and we must take it as an industry and run with it.
You see where you're very passionate. I quickly want to ask, and our time is mainly up, I quickly want to ask, is there enough communication between underwriters, between insurers in the funeral space? Do you talk to each other? And I'm specifically referring to sometimes fraud.
Oh, okay, yeah. So
Short answer, Musiba.
I will try my best. There are industry bodies and companies, I just can't mention them because they are not in there, otherwise Stephen and Marius won't be happy, that help and work with a number of insurers to be able to identify fraud. So they will keep a record of who is claiming where, for how much, and what are they disclosing to the various insurers, and then they can provide that information to us.
Crime Bureau.
So they've centralized that. So there's that collaboration. There's also a collaboration from an ASISA point of view, from an industry body point of view, but that tend to be on bigger governance and related stuff, not necessarily on the day-to-day running of the business. There are also industry bodies. Some of these collection houses here are used by many insurers across the board, so they help with insights, and I think there's a session later on about collection. So there's also that benefit that if you are a client of theirs, you can benefit from their insight.
Do you agree, Rian? Is there enough communication?
So I just want to clarify. So a discussion between underwriters in terms of policy holders, fraud, is that the fraud?
Yeah.
Okay. So we when I started at KGA Life, the claims process I discussed earlier, so I would ask the person in claims, the third person doing exactly the same thing as the two previous people did, and I say, so you're printing everything out, and then you start a register. So why is this process so laborious? We're getting 10 Rand premium, but 5 people are dealing with the same claim. Rian, you don't understand. Fraud. So who changed this process? Who started fraud from a policyholder point of view? What we did, we integrated with everyone who does the checks. For instance, Home Affairs. Once someone processed a claim on our POL 360 system,